Yeah. So, how to make impactful OOH is the uh, topic for discussion today, and uh, I belong to a generation where OOH was still outdoor uh, because I joined advertising way back in 1994, and of course, it is it is something else today. The digital revolution and tech which has entered the fray. And now I'm going to be learning from the masters who are here. And I will start with Janki. What do you consider to be impactful OOH in your opinion?
Sure, thanks.
Yeah. No, it's not.
Okay, better. Yeah, sorry. So impactful, whenever we decide on the medium, the impact, we look from two, three lenses. One is the consumer that we, sort of reach out to. Uh, it's an impulse category, it's into indulgence. So for us, impact is how tempted the consumer got when they saw the outdoor. How quickly is that person able to get and satisfy that indulgence and impulse it generated. So it's a mix of creative and scientific approach to measure the impact what we do. For example, obviously areas where the distribution is strongest selected to sort of identify that this works in terms of inclusion in the plan. But in terms of creative, the idea to sort of how quickly you can lure the consumer and how quickly the shop is just right there. That for us in a holistic way is an impact. It won't be fair to say either the site or the creative. It's a holistic approach that we take for us to measure the impact, because end of the day, it's the business, that needs to be catered. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Spoken like a true client. Now we'll now we'll lead to Junaid, who's got the skin in the game. He's from Roshan Space Brandcom Private Limited, and his holdings are all over town. And Junaid, what according to you is impactful OOH?
From my perspective, because I love anything that's impact, I think impact is something that is unmissable. It's something that is clutter-free. It's idea-based. It's purpose-based. And if that is communicated at all aspects to the, I don't like the word consumer, but audience, or to the end user, that I consider impact. So from a purely media owner perspective, aesthetic, scientific approach, creating a stage, a canvas where brands can tell a story, is considered impact. And we've done that consistently. I mean, thanks to the COVID, we had time to rethink our strategy, and instead of taking a few steps back, we took bold steps forward. And we've created some of the most impactful medium and in the most impactful locations for the most impactful brands.
Awesome.
So that's what I consider impact.
Now over to Alap. From the jewelry, you can see that he's also creative. Uh, Alap, what according to you is impactful OOH?
Yeah, I think in the past few years, what is changed is that anything that can get interacted with, what do we want? See, we make things. Impact is what now. Now, if there are things that are moving from just PPT slides within our offices, that "Arey dekho ye hum logon ne kya kara," oh, so great. It should go beyond that. Like
Right.
if that is what is true impact. Anything that can have a consumer engage with it and they go to the extent of sharing it on their timelines, I think that is very deep impact, because I am very choosy. I'm sure everyone is. I am very choosy about what I share on a LinkedIn or what I share on a Facebook because those are our personalities, right? If I can get a brand to actually engage, can I get a consumer to actually engage with a brand, click a picture and share it on, hey, I saw this cool stuff on Western Express Highway. Now that is true impact. Like you've turned a non-media asset, which is a consumer, into a media property, which is a timeline that he or she has. So that is deep impact. So that's for me.
Very, very well said. Nobendu, I mean, well, you have been having clients tell you that I want impactful outdoors, since the 90s. So what, according to you, is an impactful OH in 2024?
So in client's language impact, they don't want to use that language because they know that cost will increase. So from different studies of UK to India at Ogilvy, my existing organization, in Oscar score, there are 7-8 parameters. Basis that parameter, 1 is the best and 0 is the least. Anything above 0.80 used to be called impact, which means 90-degree viewing distance, angle, all of that put together. There are 7 clutter level. There are 7 parameters. Basis that the impact on a scientific level it is calculated. But we later at Ogilvy we created, because client doesn't want to pay for impact sites. We later created built-in creative or innovation into it to convert an average site into impact. So for me, if an idea which is very interesting, okay, is the best site if we can take Roshan Space's Glocal, which is the largest in the Asia, that will come at
Is
a
it
diamond
local or
cost.
focal?
Diamond cost, that's definitely impact. But if we have to do somebody like Hammer wants something, so we have to create something interesting so that it becomes talk of the town. That's according to us is impact.
So a large part of impact is design and messaging. So how do, because, and especially have more being an impulse brand, like it's a hot day, I see a fantastic outdoor, which is, triggers that. How much is messaging and design critical for impactful OOH according to you?
I think that's the beginning point.
Right.
If you get it right, then rest of your plan just sort of falls into the place. Like I said, in an impulse category, if the product is not rule-worthy,
Right.
then it doesn't, cut the clutter. But that's hygiene at one
Right.
point of
Sure.
time. It's the messaging, it's how much tempt you can create. For example, recently, we tried using AI technology through, in generating creatives. So all our creatives are AI based, but
Amazing.
it's just not the input that the AI has given. The art team has actually worked very hard to marry real ice creams and give an impact of the fantasy versus reality. So that came out beautifully well. In terms of, because like I said, the creative has to do the justice to the medium. And our print ad is different than a TVC and it's different than our social media. I don't think it works in an impulse category. So yeah, creative.
Because usually the temptation is to have the same thing repeated everywhere. But I'm sure we were talking before this and you said it's different in your case.
Yes, it's a conscious call that we've taken to keep it separate
Yes.
because we want to give justice to that medium. And we have a certain ROI through which we want to measure the impact of each of the medium. So hence we have de-linked it. Obviously there is one connection throughout, the brand messaging, the brand language, that doesn't change.
Right, right.
But the creative is in fact different.
Outstanding. Junaid, please educate us on how, like the new tech, AI, and integrating with the digital campaign and digital itself, how it's changing the OOH landscape. And how it will in the next
I think
4-5 years.
I think the first and foremost transition that it is going towards is more fun. It's more, you want to look at it, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
you don't want to look at just tin boards everywhere. You know,
Yeah,
those days are
exactly.
gone. You're digitally aligned. You're digitally focused. Everything is digital.
Right.
Now, while you can see, you know, once you move from analog to digital, aesthetics come in play.
Right.
You can't just have digital, which is not true to itself.
Sure.
So aesthetics come in play, technology comes in play, the science comes in play, the facilitation of, I mean, you know, like take the example of a phone,
Right.
right? What's a mobile phone without its, you know, software?
Yeah.
You can have many phones that look like Apple, but what drives it is the facilitation behind it.
Very well said.
And I think DOH in India is at that stage where it's got that understanding that, okay, DOH is here, but what about the aesthetics? What about the facilitation? What about the integration with the other digital medium? And that I think is of extreme importance to all the stakeholders of the industry, understanding this, studying it, diving deep into it, having their skin in the game in it.
Right.
You know, like we've spent, you know, our assets, you know, we spent about 12 crores on just digital screens on one asset, one project,
Oh, wow.
as opposed to, say, 50 lakh rupees that I could, you know, I could have spent in, or a crore in, on one asset, which would be static. So
Yeah.
the leap that we have taken from is to be, you know, in the forefront of driving DOH. We believe in the might of DOH. We've created, you know, industry firsts, knowing that, you know, it's going to take a while for others to understand. But we've at least facilitated it.
Right.
Considering the fact that the most, you can say, complementary medium to DOH is digital, is social media, is layers of measurement systems. Very basic measurement, like we are measuring all our assets, you know, and we are very surprised to see data wherein, you know, just recently I was talking to my data scientists, and we found that on a Sunday on Western Express Highway we had 10 million impressions.
Wow.
Which was double than an ordinary day. Who would have ever thought that,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Counterintuitive.
Counterintuitive. Yeah. We tend to think that, oh, Sunday nobody's out there, but there's double. So this gives us insights, and marrying that with the asset and the brand's requirement, the brand need. Now we can talk a story. Like have more. Like while she was talking, I wanted to understand. While your creatives are, you know, generated by AI, which is great, you know, it's quick, it's fast, I love it. But how do you tell a story through AI? Can AI tell a story? No, it cannot drive the brand to tell a story. And through DOH medium, you can speak a story. And that requires, you know, expertise of, you know, ECDs. And so I'm thinking how important and how alarming it is for ECDs to kind of get onto the, you know, front foot and really drive this medium.
Sure.
Because, you know, they are the major stakeholders.
Yeah.
Earlier, when it was static and, you know, analog, it wasn't, they were not even looking at it because it was the last mile.
Last mile, yeah.
And it's a cut paste that we've discussed, right? Over time, because it was it wasn't very interesting.
Yeah,
Let's put
yeah,
it this way, right? Because it was not dynamic. But now that it's dynamic, it's engaging. It's you know, like my screens have trillions of colors. You know, it can show trillions of colors. So these have to be harnessed. Harnessing is important. And I think OH will be driven by DOH and Iconic. So we created these classifications. I mean, earlier, when I would go on a, you know, client meeting and I would have to explain locations, like, you know, you would have to say Bandra, I would have to say Worli, opposite passport office. Now we've created brands out of billboards. So my billboards are known, have their own name. So Bandra is called Bandra Focal. People don't call it Bandra Railway. The Prodigy, our DOH network, you know, we have Prodigy Twin. We have Prodigy flagpoles.
Yeah.
And turning assets into, brands is
Yeah.
itself saying something.
Sure.
So that time has come.
Yeah, well, that is very well said. As a storyteller, Alap, how excited are you because, I mean, that's your day job, to influence people, influence behavior. How excited are you about the tech possibilities that outdoor gives you? I mean, as a storytelling, as a help to your storytelling.
So I think the tech integration and the tech possibility have unlocked this potential in a two-way communication that we've never seen before.
Oh, very well said.
Yeah. So this two-way street is the most exciting part.
Yeah.
Like when I started off or outdoor before, there was no interaction. It was the billboard telling you something,
Right.
and then you couldn't say something back. Right. Now with filters, with a lot of integration, like one of the best pieces of interaction that I've seen recently are if I quote Burger King, there was to promote Burger King's flame grilled burger. What they did was they created a filter, okay, and the filter needs a trigger,
Right.
and so you could point it on a McDonald's ad, and the billboard in the phone itself would go to fire, catch fire, right? Catch fire. Now
Yeah.
it is beautiful. Then the entire consumer base started burning down McDonald's ads. Right? Now this is something that excites me. This is
Correct,
something that
obviously.
is fun.
Yeah.
Can the little guy take a jab at the big guy?
Correct.
Because there is outdoor and everyone can see it. There are so many things that you can do
Right.
because it's a two-way communication, and that's
Yeah.
what excites me most right now.
I mean, as Navindu, as somebody who has been at the static, era, started his career there, and now, video anamorphic, and your company does anamorphic videos. How is the storytelling changing, in today's day and age?
So I was discussing about, the out of home, there is no regulation in the market today. So there are multiple billboards, as you cross, and probably thousands and thousands, and, particularly few of them actually attract your attention. And obviously, one study recently done in UK, and I was just mentioning that if the brand, the creative or the brand's job is to make sure that more than 3 seconds somebody's attention is attracted, and then apparently the sales increases by 26%.
Wow.
So if you look at that study, it very, very clearly talks about that the way the idea or the movement should happen, especially in anamorphic content space. If you look at it, there are fantastic stuff happening in US and China and all of that. So we built our in-house capability, and we have done a couple of them. The Vedastian is one, Pyramid Reality is the other one. So actually they can do lots. Entire your Western Express Highway, which is the airport road, if there are 15 billboards, if you can map, the problem is there are problem of too many. The fragmented industry, too many people, piping is not done. And supposing those 15 billboards, if you can time it such a way that a person moved from Bandra to the airport, and it takes about, say, 15 minutes to reach airport. And in that 15 minutes, if there are 15 impressions, then creative brothers can actually create storytelling as a process.
Oh, nice.
So entire story can be told, and I'm sure the media owners are actually looking forward to, giving such options to the creative. See, earlier, that's what I was discussing with him. Me, Alap, Ramanuj, we were part of Ogilvy and Mather, and the outdoor team used to sit with the Ogilvy creative team, and there were a lot of interactions and discussion used to happen. Nowadays, it is out of home is part of the media agency. The creative discussion doesn't happen. See, if I go to a brand, and if I tell you this is the idea, brand guys will not accept it. If the creative guys, Ramanuj calls and says, "Sir, I like it, let's do it," immediately they say, "Okay, you think?" Yes. So immediately it happens. So I'm just trying to say that I think the creative and the tech team should play a lot of role to make sure that now that you know, the mobile phone is on steroid, I will call it, the digital billboard. So there are immense possibilities, and you know, these guys have to do the best. I can only leave it on them that they can do the best. I think there are tech guys and they can actually put it together. There is Lema who can actually do the programmatic. There are things are available. Digital Skin can do lots. We are looking forward to actually, you know, coming out from them that all the NFCs and all the jargons we keep hearing, it should come into practice. And it happens in India. And India has the best of the mind. We have no doubt about it.
Yeah. So again, coming back to the client, so now everybody eats ice cream unless you have a medical condition and you can't.
Even then, we have no added sugar.
Yeah, yes. So how do you, one way is to have, you know, in the thoroughfares, in the busiest thoroughfares, put your OOH, those things, and but specific demographics, because people are in different places, and how do you tackle the issue of demographics when you're when you're putting your hoardings, because you have different demographics who eat your ice cream, and they're not necessarily, you know, just 5 in the busiest thoroughfare won't solve that issue. So how do you approach the demographics?
So, consumer point of view, how we sort of arrive at the plan is, we know where our distribution is. So we
Right.
know if the ROI that we expect from this campaign is to immediately go buy the ice cream.
Right.
So then the easiest way, and what we most likely do, is to put the outdoor next to our distribution point.
All right.
That's one. From consumer point of view, we understand which are the areas which are busy area where consumers do hang out. For example, in Mumbai, where the traffic is high, where people are supposed and bound to have a look at the outdoors, because we are seeing an emerging pattern. Everything is cluttered, including
Right,
our
right.
mobile screens to outdoor. Everything is cluttered.
Right.
So we need to, so there's a balance that we sort of arrive at. One is how the clutter is broken through certain specific impactful outdoors, which
Right.
target to the TG, talks to them
Sure.
in their language that appeals to them. And second is where the distribution is strong.
Right, right.
Because that's, end of the day,
Then,
how you
that's-
measure the ROI of
right,
the...
right. So, since you make gigantic billboards, what are the environmental impact? You know, and also the fact is that outdoor, at the end of the day, surfeit outdoor, and I'm not putting an accusatory finger, but they do impact the urban landscape. So what are the environmental impact and sustainability issues that you face when you are designing, you know, supermassive installations?
Our biggest concern is always clutter and how to
Right.
break it.
Sure.
So, the case study in Mahalakshmi, there is this set of 7 billboards, absolutely in sync with each other.
Right.
When we took up that tender, this is about 7 years ago,
Right.
there were 20 billboards there. And we were like, what do we do with them? They just don't add value to it.
Right. Right.
And that's when I'm talking, this is like almost 9 years ago. Since 9 years and post-pandemic, we've been actually working on beautifying the city through out of home. So our effort is to kind of enhance the environment, create lesser carbon footprint, because obviously the more the number, the more carbon footprint. And basically give people a sense of pride while they're, that's something to talk about. That, before and after, if you had to see Mahalakshmi, we call it Edge 7. Before and after is a completely different story.
Sure.
And absolutely, where aesthetics come into play, science comes into play. So having the right body and the right outlook towards a perception is extremely important. Sure. Design takes center stage. So design, I look at out of home as the most visible real estate after buildings.
Right.
So they can do a lot for people. So we have introduced, new age mediums which have never been done before.
Right.
We've never been experienced, and we've faced backlash for it from our own community.
Okay.
And we fought it, we've won the battle. But change is extremely, people are very reluctant to change.
Yeah.
That's another challenge that I face. So, and like, for example, I give you an example of, I wanted to do DOH 15 years ago. Because I traveled the world.
Right.
I had friends, who were media owners. And DOH has been around for almost 40 years over there, right? But every time I would go to the authorities, and there's like a different levels of authorities that the document needs to pass on. And if even one simple inspector decides to write an adverse remark, the permission was cancelled. It wasn't. It was not going through, and it had to go through all over again. Post pandemic, the government actually, we made a lot of representations. We gave them a case study of what happened in the pandemic with all the static billboards, because we were actually we were changing prints on the static billboards in the pandemic.
Okay.
That was, so we put, that's what I mean by putting our skin in the game.
Sure.
And in the pandemic and after the pandemic, we've created about 40,000 square feet of digital medium.
Wow.
Okay, and the first wave we created one big project, the second wave, and post that another 2 projects. So in India, with a population of 1.3 billion, if you break clutter and if you create aesthetics and create beautification, we consider ourselves as beautifying the environment,
Right.
beautifying the city by giving you lesser clutter.
Yeah.
And that's how. So that's our, effort in trying to be more sustainable.
Sure. So, Anat, DOH gives you the option of day parting. Like, morning you can have a different creative on, and evening you can have a different creative on. And I'm sure there are brands which have. So I'm actually coming from the, in digital we call that A/B, testing. There could not be any A/B testing in fixed out. Going forward, you think A/B testing, like testing 2 creatives and working, which is better, and also day part, like having a different. So these are the new options that are. So what are the? How do you see all this, possibilities, and how it's going to affect your storytelling?
I think there's a massive impact.
Right.
because in the end it's a medium, and if a medium is becoming deeper and more useful and there are more use case scenarios, I think it just makes the communication better.
Sure.
Say for example, if I was advertising for a mattress company,
Right.
okay, in the daytime, in the first half of the day, when everyone's going to office, I would probably put an ad saying that hey, did you sleep well?
Correct.
Right. And in the time when they are coming back, I would put the same creative with a different line saying that hey, it's time to sleep well.
Yeah.
Correct. Now that just adds more impact into the creative.
So what a beautiful example.
Yeah, and it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same space. I can use the same design. I can use the same brand ambassador. Just tweak the messaging a bit. Makes it more relevant every time someone crosses it.
Right.
And if I have those options in something as massive, like Janelle also put it, like such clutter-breaking medium,
Yeah.
that kind of interaction or that kind of involvement, it's beautiful.
Right,
Right.
right.
And now the best part about digital is also the after effect of digital is surveillance, right? We
Right.
know there is so much data and there's such sharp data saying that इस time पे यहाँ पे लोग
Correct.
ऐसे रहते हैं,
जी.
उस time पे वैसे रहते हैं, right? If I can customize messaging according to the people that are
Right.
crossing it, it's just brilliant.
Right, right.
Clients get their money's worth.
Right.
We get our get our creative,
Creative
out.
jollies, yeah.
Creative out. I think it's a brilliant space to be. Like we are dying to always get some people like Navindu or someone to tell us that ye naya khilona hai, play with this more.
Yeah. Yeah, the Naya Khilona. I think the Khilona is a beautiful way to put it because so many options, because when it is fixed, it's not a Khilona.
Yeah.
When you can do stuff with it, it's Khilona. And I really miss those days when Nabindu and I used to sit and brainstorm about. So do you think there are any chance of going back to that time? Is it possible to turn the clock back and have more interaction with creative about outdoor, because I think it's been neglected for a bit, in my opinion. But what do you think?
I think the only person actually can make it happen is, apart from these forums, is client like Janki.
Yeah.
Okay. So most of the time what happens is out of home as a media is really neglected because now no more television, because everything is all about ROI. That it's like instant food. I will display today, tomorrow what is my result. Okay. So no more thematic campaign, no more building brand, and those days are gone. It's basically that I need to spend, if I am spending this much of money, and all the entrepreneurs are looking at that only. So CEO's job is restricted to 1 year now instead of 5 years. So no more 5 years business plan. It's only 1 year. So it's all about delivery. But I think from a brand and marketeer's point of view, to take out the best of the work, I think, see, end of the day, creative mind also stops somewhere. It stops that whether it is possible or not.
Yes.
The area they know that it is possible, they come out with ideas, right?
Yeah.
So typically television or digital as a social media, they immediately come out with idea. The moment they know that there is a difficulty, okay, then they stay away. Eventually it used to be cut, paste, stop, press creative into the outdoor earlier days. And it's much, much better now. But I think there is a solid chance from all stakeholders' point of view. Even if you are spending 10% of the money on out of home, the 10% should work the best. And it can only work the best when creative mind can be put together with the specialist. Because television has a different creative people. If you look at social media has a different creative people. I think out of home doesn't have any, and somewhere I think you need to push the creative guys, saying take the best out of it and do you really understand? Because given an opportunity, they'll say keep the logos this small and do the scenario more. Okay, I have seen those days, and you as a client you interfere saying no, and without asking only we used to increase 25%. So I'm just trying to say that it's a fantastic opportunity and they're the greatest of the mind, I can tell you. But we need to, make sure that we come together. I come from media owner side, so probably media owner, Junaid's area, probably I understand a little bit because I started my career from Selwell and then in agency. So, but really with the creative team, we need to interact much more, the specialist agencies, to take out the best of the work.
So we have, I think it was a very fruitful and for me at least a very enriching discussion where, I learned a lot and, of different stakeholders and how they're looking at impactful OH from different points of view. And I want to thank Janki, Junaid, Alap, Navindu for your wonderful participation and the knowledge that you shared. And here is to utopia where all of us can work together again and to harness the possibilities that, modern OH can bring for us. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.